I'd like to just very quickly run you through how we use the pre-prepared images on the Transport CD Rom so that we can make our car up or van, however you want to do it, using those elements. So if I can just show you here, we can cut out and create that, or we can make something like this where I've used the individual bits of card and all the colour and pop that on there, or even a combination of the two. You might want to take some of the chrome elements here and pop them onto the car. Either way, it's quite a quick and easy method of working. And incidentally, what we're going to do is just hold it all together with bits of tape on the back, as per the main tutorials that show you how to make up the cards with the die. So on the CD, you've got lots of lovely things on there. Transport CD, papergraphs.co.uk. Go and have a look, and I've got a fantastic little walkthrough tour to show you as well. But when you've got there, this section gives you the pre-coloured vehicles for you to cut out. It saves a little bit of time. I said there's horses for courses, they both look nice. It's either way that you want to work. And on this particular demo, I've just chosen the car. And here we can see we've got 2 red, 2 blue and 2 black ones. So you can decide what colour of these 3, but you are set to this. Now, it is on a PDF document, and if you're feeling clever, you can snapshot tool out sections and change colours. But I'm hoping that you'll find that with these 3, you've pretty well got everything you need. So what I'm going to do now is just slice out one of the cars. You'll notice that we've got a large black outline, and that helps us register the die onto the paper. On this instance, the card 250 GSM is what I recommend you print onto, or higher. You can go a little bit lower, but really that's what you're looking for. So it's obviously going to go down that away to cut, and you can see instantly it's a lot easier to register once you've got this line here, and it's getting it as close as you can so that none of the white or very little of the white is showing. So if you're happy that you've got it pretty well there or thereabouts, then you should be good. And I'll pop a little bit of tape just to hold it into position because we don't want that to move. You could go one either side. One bit's usually sufficient, but as we're doing sort of fairly tight registration, it will help just to anchor it into position. So the next thing to do is just simply run it through your cutting machine. I'm going to just pop this on my plates. And as ever, I recommend close to the edge as you can get. So I'm going to flip that round. It's a little bit closer, but give yourself a bit of a gap to allow the roller to come on, and then give us our best chance of cutting. And narrowest end through. Pop that in as a sandwich, and as I said, just regular cut now. You want to make sure, obviously, it's cut, but it's going to do that beautifully. But just check your plate for any of the other spare parts on it. So I'd actually recommend cutting it the other way through. So when you, sorry, let me just show you. When you do lift it up, everything still stays in there, and if there is anything left over, you can clearly see it on the plate there. So I'm just so used to cutting the other way. But I have managed to retrieve everything, and we'll just work with this as we would normally. If you have a look at the tutorials for each of the vehicles, they've all got their own tutorial which will show you how to put them all together. But in essence, what I'm going to do is just remove the tape fairly carefully. And we can see now we've got our elements here. I've also got spare ones stuck on my board. Not spare, actual useful ones there, but they've just remained in the board there, so all is good. And you can tap this and get all the bits out, but I just find it's easier with a craft knife. I just sort of tease it out. It's going to want to come out quite easily anyway. And try not to disturb too much of the other elements, then at least all these little bits aren't disappearing for you. Now you'll notice with the beauty of this that everything is already coloured for us. That cut, all the bits are there as per the other instructions, and I'm not going to go into this in great detail because it's all on the actual making up of the car, but the little bit for the window would be in there. But if I can just show you things like the wheels, they will just go straight on there. But a handy hint, and it applies to, can't find my tape, here we go, let's liberate some of that. What I'm going to do is use a little bit of masking tape. The reason for this is we're making this particular one up as though it were going to be used independently flat. Let me just explain what I'm talking about, like this. So we can move it around, pop it wherever we want on our card. Equally, if you know exactly where you want it to go, you can stick everything down in position. But I just want to show you how we would do it this way. So if by capturing that with a little bit of tape, and probably, let's just put a little bit more on there, we'll be able to just lift this all out. Nothing will need repositioning, and we'll have to do the same for that one and that one over there. So a little bit of tape, but be the same principle. You don't have to be too sparing. Now I recommend the masking tape because it's paper based, so when it comes to glue this, you've still got something which the glue can stick to nicely. If you use the plastic tape, it's not going to be quite so easy. So let me just pull that out, and I do the same really for all the wheels. Let's just put 2 on because it looks a little bit nicer, doesn't it? Again, I'm just carefully lifting that out. I mean, I could turn it over and just pop it out, but then I'm likely to lose all of those bits. Now, I'm just going to roughly assemble this into position here. But we can see instantly it's a much quicker, faster method of popping the car together. Let's pop that on there. That goes into the back there. That one, not use my scalpel, just pop it into there like so. Now, one of the things I can see is I'm just very slightly misregistered on the wheel there, but most of the car, if you have a look, it's all pretty perfect, isn't it? So I'm just slightly out on that, and a little bit of pen would just cover that, a little bit of grey or something, just to knock it out. But by and large, really everything on there is pretty good. So what I would do in actual life, real life situation now, is just pop these over like so, and just put them back into position with a little bit of tape. This is all covered in the tutorial, but this is a generic thing for all of. So just pop that there like so. It will lock into position. So each one has a tutorial relating to it. Let's pop that on there, and again just flop that one over, and you'll see there's a natural way that it's going to just sit in there like so. Because we're cutting, we do lose a little bit of the paper. There we go. And again, just pop that in there like so. So there will be a slight gap, but it doesn't really show up. While I'm doing that, I'm just going to pop that on there, just holds it into position, flip that over. We can see now how quick it is to really pop this car together. Then the other elements would just be glued on as the normal per the tutorial. So in this instance, I've got one of the lights, and that I know just sits on there like so, and the other one on the other wing. So you're still constructing, but it just takes a little less time. And now with this, we've got a slight misregistration there. It's probably better to do it before you pop it on here. See a little bit of pencil in there, and just colour that in, and it pretty well makes everything disappear. A much quicker way of doing it in some respects, because you're not cutting all the different papers, and it's these are a more painterly style, a bit more photorealistic looking. But there's, as I said, horses for courses really. We've got 2 styles, so we've cutting that out from, or working in a more traditional way. But that's how we would use our die with our work here. And it is important that when you print this, that you make sure that you print it at actual size, that it isn't scaled in any way. I pop that like so. There we go. It's pretty obvious that's a fairly good fit there. That's pretty much where it needs to be. If you're finding that you've got lots of big lines or it's going like that, then you haven't set the printer to the printer is set to scaling basically. Printer scaling set to none. That is important, otherwise it won't register properly. And there we go. So just pop it on, little bit of tape, just line it up there or thereabouts, and in it goes. And you should find that everything's working pretty well for you. Okay, so I hope anyway that gives you an idea of how we can make these lovely cars up. And it does help. As I said, you're still crafting in the traditional way. We're still sticking on the elements to the vehicle, but all the parts, basically all the colouring's done for you. You don't need a whole range of different coloured papers. Okay, have fun. It's another element to help you with your work and your card making. It's as equally as enjoyable whichever way you want to work. Take care and enjoy your crafting. Bye bye.